Let's stand and say morning prayers. Toward the one, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being, united with all illuminated souls, who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of guidance. Praise be to thee, most supreme God, omnipotent, omnipresent, all-pervading, the only being. Take us in thy parental arms, raise us from the distance of the earth. Thy beauty do we worship, to thee do we give willing surrender. Most merciful and compassionate God, the idealized Lord of the whole of humanity, the only do we worship, and towards thee alone do we aspire. Open our hearts towards thy beauty, illuminate our souls with divine light. O thou, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, all-powerful Creator, Sustainer, Judge, and Forgiver of our shortcomings, Lord God of the East and of the West, of the worlds above and below, and of the seen and unseen beings, pour upon us thy love and thy light. Give sustenance to our bodies, hearts, and souls. Use us for the purpose that thy wisdom chooseth, and guide us on the path of thy own goodness. Draw us closer to thee every moment of our life, until in us be reflected thy grace, thy glory, thy wisdom, thy joy, and thy peace. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. May the message of God reach far and wide. Inspirer of my mind, consoler of my heart, healer of my spirit. Thy presence lifteth me from earth to heaven. Thy words flow as the sacred river. Thy thought rises as the divine spring. Thy tender feelings awaken sympathy in my heart. Beloved teacher, thy very being is forgiveness. The clouds of doubt and fear are scattered by thy piercing glance. All ignorance vanishes in thy illuminating presence. A new hope is born in my heart by breathing thy peaceful atmosphere. O inspiring guide through life's puzzling ways, in thee I feel abundance of blessing. For thou art the maker, molder, and builder of the universe. Build with thy own hands the universe thou, our temple for thy divine message of love, harmony, and beauty. So, as normal, we'll start out with purification dress, earth, water, fire, and air. These breaths are a means of purifying those elements within your being. We all have them. We all have earth within us, water, fire, which is the combustion process takes place. That's why we're warm. And the air that we breathe. So you begin by exhaling completely. This is something you should do whenever you sit down to do any kind of meditation. The very first thing you do, exhale completely. And the way that you do that, it's a standard yogic practice, is as you exhale out the mouth, you first collapse your chest, then you collapse your abdomen, and then you push up with your diaphragm. You know, it's a muscle, you can do it, and against your lungs to get the last bit of breath out. Okay? Just like this. Then you release the diaphragm, expand the abdomen, and your lungs will fill naturally from the lowest chamber up, which is what you want. Okay. For proper breathing. So let's everybody do that. Exhale completely. Out the mouth, in the nose. And you'll notice that there's an automatic relaxation that takes place, just naturally. No effort needed on your part. Suddenly you relax. Oh, and I want to make a further note that you never hold the breath at the bottom of an exhale, so there's no breath in you. It's, in Sufi terms, it's called a little death, and it's not appropriate. Okay, we don't do that. Always, you only hold the breath when you have your lungs full. So begin with earth, breathing in the nose and out the nose. Imagining that as you're inhaling, you're drawing the telluric energy from the earth up into your body, magnetic field. And as you exhale, your magnetic field is automatically aligned and purified by this very powerful earth energy. In the nose and out the nose. Next is purification with water, in the nose and out the mouth. And just imagine the element of water flowing through your body, right through, cleansing every molecule as it flows through your body and out into the earth. You can imagine you're standing under a waterfall or a shower, or you're lying at the bottom of a mountain stream with this pure, clear element of water flowing through you, or however you want to feel. In the nose and out the mouth. Next is purification with fire, which is in the mouth and out the nose. As you inhale, imagine that you are drawing some energy into your abdominal area and fanning that flame that always resides there, causing it to be very bright and to consume any emotional and mental impurities that we daily accumulate. And then as the flame rises up to your heart, it gets transformed into golden light as you exhale, in the mouth and out the nose. And then last is purification with air. Begin with an exhale out the mouth And imagine your being, your essence, all of you expanding as far as you can conceive into the universe, merging with the stars, purified by cosmic energy. And as you inhale, all of that purified energy comes right back to your being. Purified. Out and in the mouth. Then there's one more. Purification with ether, which is perhaps defined as spirit, the essence that enables all of us, all of this, everything that is to exist. Very refined, very, very quiet. And it's a breath where you inhale and exhale both the mouth and nose with a very refined breath. And imagine yourself floating in celestial realms, completely safe, completely purified. In and out both the mouth and nose, very gently. And then just allow yourself to relax. Settle into a very calm place, comfortable. Paying attention to the rhythm of your breath. We'll do Kasal.
Kasal is like a yoga practice of breath. We simplify it for the Sufis because people aren't used to doing the physical exercise, the asanas. So what you want to do, I'll just demonstrate it for you. You're going to breathe in, say, the left nostril for the count of 4. You're going to hold it for the count of 8, and then exhale the right nostril for the count of 4. You're going to do that 3 times, okay? And then the other side, then you begin the other side, breathing in the right nostril, 4 counts, holding it for 8 counts, exhaling the left side. And you do that 3 times. And I'll count it out for you when you do it, or tell you when to change. And then you breathe in both nostrils, hold it, and exhale both nostrils 3 times. The hand movement is like this. Put your thumb under your chin, like this. There's a pressure point under the chin, right there. You put this finger on your top of your chin, just like you would grab a little child by the chin and say, pay attention. Okay, and then you take the rest of the fingers and put them on your right nostril. Okay, then you take your left hand and you're going to place that over your fingers, and you're going to use your thumb to close off your left nostril. So you have the right nostril is closed off by this, the left by this. Okay.
Reverse yourself.
Use your right hand here. That's good. This finger here.
Yeah, there you
Index finger here. No, don't pay attention to him. Put your thumb here. Index finger here. Then you have these fingers to regulate the nostril.
There you go.
Good. Okay, and then you take your other hand and place it over. That's good. Okay, so exhale completely. close off the right nostril and inhale the left. Hold it. Exhale the right. Inhale the left. Hold it, and as you hold it, turn your tongue upward to the roof of your mouth and turn your eyeballs upward. Okay, exhale the right. One more time. Breathe in the left. Close your nostrils, turn your tongue upward, and your eyeballs upward. And exhale the right, relax your eyes. Now breathe in the right. Hold it and turn. Do the same with your eyeballs and your tongue. Exhale the left. Again. Exhale the left. One more time. Hold it. Exhale the right.
Left.
And the left, sorry. Inhale both nostrils. Hold it. Exhale both. Inhale both. Hold. Exhale both. Inhale both. Hold. Exhale both. Amen. This breathing exercise gives you balance. Balances out your breath, both sides of your brain, gives you balance in your thinking, your attitudes, and it also increases your intuition.
Yeah, we were once in a meditation class with Pierre Vilayat, and he was teaching Kasab, and he got up to 20, 40, 20, counting, and I don't think anybody else could keep up with it. That's control of the breath, which is the other object here. The mystics say that controlling the breath is everything. That's complete mastery comes from control of the breath. So one of the things that we're working on all the time is that very thing. Okay, if you're wondering why these chairs are empty, it's 2 people bailed out and somebody overslept, I think. Or they sent me emails that I saw this morning and said they couldn't come for one reason or another. Okay, what we're going to work on today is the last 2 lessons in Pierre Vilayat's Course in Meditation, which may very well be the whole object of his teaching. And that is, in this case, for the lesson 44, is awakening and illumination. One of the things that we hear about, think about, it's kind of part of the lexicon, I suppose, is that the object of the mystical path is illumination. And the big question is just exactly what that means, because we all have our own idea about what that means, to be illumined, to be awakened, to be in a state of celestial bliss. So we're going to work on that today, mostly through practices with light and a little bit of philosophy. I'm going to start by reading what Pure of Light has to say about it. What are the steps that lead to illumination? Now, as you know, illumination is always very closely linked with awakening. Do you know that? Did you know that? Not yet.
No, you explain.
We're going to get into that. That's the question, isn't it?
What's the difference?
Yeah. Well, they're very close. As you said, they're very closely linked. And this whole chapter kind of walks you through what it means. One of the more tangible features of a state of illumination is that one is absolutely radiant, so that one's presence fills the room with light. This goes together with a state of acute awareness on all levels, perspicacity, alacrity, insight, and intuition. It also goes together with all the shadows which take away from our light, which cause resentment, hatred, dishonesty, lasciviousness, or any kind of psychic uncleanliness. To become more radiant, we need to work on all levels of our being, the physical, the mental, and the emotional. Okay? Now, I just want to start right out by touching on what he says here. One's presence fills the room with light. The thing about that is you're not going to know it. It's completely, you're just being normal. And that, in a lot of ways, that's what we're reaching for, is a level of normalcy that is much vaster than how you currently feel about yourself, who you are, what you see when you look in the mirror. And that, in this new state of radiance and expression of your divine being is just normal. It's not in any way unusual as far as you're concerned. You know? Okay? So let's keep that in mind, please. That's really important to understand. What you're doing is you are unveiling who you really are. You're not imposing some kind of external energy upon yourself. This already exists within you.
Where does the light come from?
Where does the light come from? Inside.
So you're just obstructing?
You're obstructing, exactly. Yeah. Well, you know, it's what you learn. Well, you know, we can go into that later, but basically that's what we're doing. We're going to work today on experiencing that state of illumination, or at least the light. Now, and one more thing that we always are, you know, cautious to remind people of. Your experience is your experience. Whatever you experience, just let that be what it is. Don't be discouraged if you don't suddenly see flashing lights and seeing angels and, you know, hear the celestial spheres and all that stuff that people talk about. It might just, for you, it might be just very simple calmness that you experience. Relaxation of tension and resentment. At the physical level, practices of visualizing light enhance the radiation of photons coming from our body. The cells of our body are continually proliferating in the process of mitosis. And every time a cell divides, there is a tremendous outbreak of light, of photons radiating from the body, traveling through space at 186,000 miles per second. I just want to relate a little story that Pure of Light once told on himself. He was in Japan, and he was invited to go to this laboratory that this Japanese scientist had set up. And what he'd done was he set up a light box. I mean, there was a box that was completely dark. But inside there were an array of photoreceptors that would pick up even the slightest illumination of any kind. You know, the presence of a photon, it would pick it up. And if it picked up the photon, then a light would go on inside the chamber. Okay, so Pierrot was all excited and eager to go and sit in this thing and try it out. That's because he just loved science and stuff. And so he went and he sat down in this chamber and he starts thinking about light, and the light is going to go on immediately. He just knows it because this is what he teaches. Nothing happens. And he's just waiting, thinking, how do I do this? And nothing happens. The light stays off. And so now he's like upset at himself. Here I am. I'm someone that teaches illumination. It's my basic teaching. It's what I teach people all the time, and I can't do it. And then he stopped, realized that he was doing it from the intellect, and just settled into practices he knew, radiated light, and the light came on. So, as a lesson, what he was teaching was, we have a presupposition about what it's going to be like, what we're going to experience. See if you can't just relax that a little bit and just let it be what it is. Okay? Now, when you look at a flower, or even a tree or a blade of grass, you must know that it is fluorescing light. It is not just reflecting the light of the sun. In the same way, our own flesh, the very electrons of the body, are being transmuted into photons. The electrons free themselves from their orbits and begin to dance the dance of Shiva. When they expend all their energy and return to their earlier state, any energy that remains is fluoresced as light. They are continually absorbing light from the sun and giving out that light in the terms of fluorescence. The other thing that's happening is that your body is burning. It is in a state of combustion, giving out infrared rays in the form of heat, but also light on all different frequencies. Okay, everybody knows that, right? That you're always radiating infrared energy. If we had an infrared camera in here, you'd all show up as blobs of red light. Okay? So what I'd like you to do now is just kind of close your eyes, and without really expending any effort, see if you can tune into that radiance that already exists. And one way to do it is to imagine that the skin of your body, which is warm, of course, is first of all radiating energy into the air around you. And just see what you notice. There's no pressure to it should be anything, this or that. It is what it is. Okay, this physical visualization will help, but there is a deeper work to do, to clarify the mirror of the soul, as the Sufis say. If one isn't totally honest, the thoughts become confused, ambiguous. There is work to do in meditation in order to make the thoughts luminous. Okay? Now you notice that if you sit and say, okay, I'm going to meditate, I've decided this is the moment I'm going to meditate. What's the very first thing that happens? You sit down, okay, I'm going to be quiet. What happens?
Start thinking about something else.
Yes, right. Instantly something comes and you start to think about whatever, right? generally some annoying thought.
Yes.
Someone did you wrong, or someone you resent, or some problem you have that just seems extremely annoying. That's the first thing that comes to mind. So, what to do about that? One thing you can do is to get in the habit of watching these thoughts flow across the surface of the mind. So you just notice them and then just let them go. And practice not catching on, not grabbing the thought. And after a while, the mind will get used to this. It takes a while. You have to work at it. But after some time, the mind just gets used to not grabbing onto the thoughts that come. And the thoughts will come. They just will. And so this practice of just letting them flow across the surface of the mind. And after some time, you get to the point where the mind will automatically know, okay, I can be quiet. So that's a first step. And it's one of the ways that you work on exactly what he's talking about to make your thoughts luminous. Because there are steps beyond that in which the thinking becomes much more clarified. It's not ambiguous. It's not jumbled. It becomes very focused. Okay, now the Tibetans work with the colors of the aura to transmute the rather gross energy of infrared light into ultraviolet frequencies. Instead of the colors of the aura being random, as they are most of the time, they start ordering themselves in a sequence, rather like a rainbow. Red at the bottom, ultraviolet at the top, and gold in the middle. And in between we have orange in the solar plexus, green in the throat center, blue in the eyes, violet in the third eye. In the pituitary gland, which is called the bindu by the yogis, we have crystalline diamond-like colorless light. Then above the head is a whole array where all the colors are repeated again. Of course, it's much more complex than this. There are beautiful colors of light beyond the visible range, frequencies with which we do not interpret as colors, but which are incredibly beautiful. Now, you get all that? Huh? Okay. Imagine that your aura is radiating right now the different colors of the rainbow, all kind of jumbled. And what you do in order to get this stacking that he's talking about from the lower chakra on up is you initially just concentrate on the first chakra, the first nerve center. This is your coccyx, your tailbone. There's a nerve center there where the nerves spread out and go down the legs. Just focus on that area. You can even breathe in and out of it. And if you want, you can imagine that there's a color, if you see colors, a very deep red. Maybe like Chinese red, very deep and radiant. And then you move to the second nerve center, which is about 3 vertebrae up from the tailbone, generally. And that would be a salmon color. Do the same thing. Just breathe in and So you're doing a couple of things here. You're acknowledging the existence of these centers. You're enhancing their awareness of themselves by focusing there and breathing in and out. You're purifying with the breath. And you are beginning the process of stacking your aura. All at the same time. And you move up to the solar plexus, which is generally kind of an orangey color. Although, you see what colors you see. And to the heart, which is the heart center, is like the middle of the sternum, and that'll be either green or gold. Different for different people. Either one's fine. And you move up to the throat, which is the clavicle, and then the base of the throat center is where your spine enters into your brain. And that's a darker green. And the third eye, which is violet. You might also include the eyes themselves, which are blue. Kind of all goes together there. And then the crown center, which is the pituitary gland, as Paraglide mentioned, which is crystalline, translucent. Good, the third eye. And then above the head is all these colors once again floating above you. Notice, isn't that cool? Not only are you radiating it from your body, but there's this whole ocean of energy and light around you and above you. And this is a little taste of what it feels like to work on these chakras. And the practices get more complex as you learn to work with them, but this is a good taste. Now, let's go into this again. Close your eyes again. And as you inhale, be particularly conscious of giving order to the colors of your aura. Notice the stacking, just like we walked through it. Do your best. And then as you hold your breath, see if you can allow yourself to be moved by the symphony of light at all levels of your being. And that includes the ultimate level, which is the light of intelligence, or Nur Akhlaq in Sufi terms. So you're working on feeling that stacking, ordering the radiance of your aura. And as you do that, you can go deeper still. So ultimately you discover the light of luminous intelligence. So the moment of illumination comes with this awakening, when you see your real being as the light of intelligence that casts its light on all things and makes all things clear. Then you see that all of the different bodies of light that have accrued to that pristine core of your being are like a support system, like the lamp that protects the light. And that's an important thing to notice, that all these layers of being, your thoughts, your emotions, your physical body, are all a protection system. They all have their luminous aura, but you want to go deeper. Now, you inhale, imagining these layers of auric illumination floating around you and penetrating your being at the same time. Hold your breath and just see what you experience. And then as you exhale, you might experience this miracle whereby the intensity of your awareness to your awakening brightens your aura. And as I said, you may not know what's happening. You just feel a deeper sense of calm. And one could say that the light of intelligence enhances the light of the aura. It's just like when you grasp something that you hadn't understood before. Suddenly there is a smile, an outburst of energy, and there's a breakthrough of light. I'm sure we've all experienced this sense of, oh my gosh, I get it, and you smile automatically. And when you do that, then there's a radiance that emanates from you that's almost palpable. You know, people around you will suddenly realize there's something beautiful close to me. Although they may not acknowledge it. Okay, your whole aura burns all of a sudden with a brighter flame because of the intensity of your awareness. What happens is expressed in the Quran by the words, a light upon light. The light of your awareness, what the early Christian church fathers like Gregory of Nyssa called the uncreated light. And it somehow impacts what is called the created light that we understand as photons. In this way, you can see the relationship between awakening and illumination. Awakening triggers illumination. You're awakening to the truth of your being, who you really are. And as that occurs, illumination very naturally follows. Sounds good, doesn't it? Those of us who have been at this for a while know that it takes a while, and you have to keep working at it. You always have to be conscious of this and continually paying attention to these practices, because you're continually assaulted by the experiences of the world. All the stuff going on around you. All the many layers of humanity that has its own needs, its own ideas, its own understanding. So that's why every day we get up and we do our morning prayers, we do some, a practice, we do breath practices and various things that we do every morning. And it's kind of like winding the clock. Get yourself ready for the day, just with very simple exercises. Continually reminding yourself, I am a being of light. Go to the next section. Oh, you want a little break?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, a little break.
So, doing this practice with the chakras and the aura, so just imagine for a moment, or remember for a moment, that you are a being of light. You always were a being of light, and you will continue to be a being of light. Beautiful, luminous, radiant. So just with that, allow that thought to come into your eyes and your mouth and smile. And I'd like you to smile at every person in the room. Pick someone, with a beautiful, radiant smile. Happy if your eyes open to do it. And look, you don't have to stare, just glance, and smile. And notice, it even brings up laughter, So notice how it changes what you feel, your emotions, just that little connection, that little human one-on-one, sparkle in the eyes, the openness to be able to smile at someone, even if they're a stranger to you. But I guess we don't normally do that. We're normally quite veiled. And you can't go around to the shopping mall smiling at everybody. But, maybe you can. Who knows? So, exactly. You're very brave.
Yes.
So what we're getting to now is the emotions. Okay? So this is what this next paragraph is about. Okay, you can see the relationship, I'm repeating what he said, between awakening and illumination. Awakening triggers off illumination. The same is true of emotions. Excuse me. We want to make our emotions luminous. I'm not using a metaphor when I say that emotions can be luminous. When a person expresses a generous thought, a generous emotion, a generous gesture, the person smiles. When the face smiles, physiologically the body burns more brightly. It fluoresces, emitting more light than ever. One says in science that the cells are in an excited state. The cells of the body experience ecstasy. The ecstasy of the psyche is communicated to one's body. Therefore, one's emotional attunement is a prerequisite for being illuminated. So you have your body, and we worked on the body of light. So you're also working on your emotional attunement to light and to openness, to who you really are. So it's as Ms. Sauer said in the beginning, when we're doing the purification breaths, it's like you let go of all those thoughts that corrode your light, that veil your light. And so in the same way, the emotions are affected. So do it again. Just go inside to that, feel that light of your aura once again. Even if you don't see it, just feel it, experience it, imagine it, and then let it explode into your smile, the sparkle of your eyes. Just open your eyes and once again smile at somebody. See how it feels. Unconditional love is a good example of an emotion that is luminous, compared with the dark emotions of hatred, anger, and jealousy. All such emotions are represented in Christianity as the fall. There's no doubt about it. There is a fall. A kind of moral gravity draws us from the sublime into the vulgar. If one wishes to attain a sense of fulfillment in one's life, one needs to overcome that gravity pull by working with oneself to clarify that whole area which is murky and dusty and which tends to cloud the clarity of one's soul. All right. So we all have a personal bag of mustiness or murkiness or whatever you have, it, fears, resentments. It's like, I don't know, I know very few people who are exempt from that bag of troubles, that bag of nasties. So it's like what you want to do is as Ms. Sauer said before, when those thoughts come, just watch them fade off. You don't have to fight them, you don't have to do anything, but you don't latch on to them. Just let them go. Let them go. And then I'm sure all of us have a certain area of negativity that we're working on. Is there anybody here who doesn't? Okay. Okay, through emotions we can reach the plane of pure splendor. It may be easier if you begin by imagining something beautiful. It could be a beautiful object, or a beautiful gesture, or a beautiful thought. Music is helpful because you don't have a form. You've got to make that quantum leap beyond the tangible, and it is the attunement of your emotion that will trigger off that leap. However, there's a limit to visualization. You can only take the next step if you are so caught up in the image of beauty that you are shattered to the core of your being, so you don't know whether you are crying or laughing. It is so beautiful. If one is shaken in one's emotion, then it does affect the heart with its joy and its pain. Somehow, the door to the emotion of the soul is the emotion of the heart. So, just for a moment, just imagine in any way that you can, by visualizing, by thought, by remembrance, something exquisitely beautiful. It could be the smile of a child, the innocence of a baby's eyes, an incredible sunset or sunrise, an experience in the forest, or the love you might feel for another person. Something very, very beautiful. Just breathe it in. and allow it to affect your emotions, your whole being. Every day, if you can, seek out something beautiful, something exquisitely beautiful. It could be the color of the sky. It could be a beautiful person. It may surprise you, but if you're on the lookout for beauty, it will find you. The three words in Sufism is love, harmony, and beauty. The love creates harmony, and the harmony creates beauty. And through this, just recognize or acknowledge that you are beautiful. You're a beautiful, luminous being of light. Absolutely beautiful. Right down to the core of your being. Even though there may be very many veils around you, worries, pains, negativity, at the core, you are beautiful. You were created in beauty. So just acknowledge that in yourself. That you are an expression of beauty. You radiate beauty and you express beauty. And you acknowledge beauty.
Maj and I go to museums a lot, and recently we were at the Met. Had our 11-year-old, I better say 11, huh? 11-year-old granddaughter with us, who, amazingly enough, loves museums and bookstores. And as we're walking through the Met, Metropolitan Museum in New York, suddenly I was struck by the fact, just looking at these various artifacts, that humanity has always created adornment. It's always found something in its environment to manipulate, to give itself beauty. Something. Always. Because as far back as you can go, every culture has given itself something beautiful to hold on to look at, to wear, to use as an implement. We won't just make a cup, we'll make a cup that has gems in it. We won't just make a plate, we'll make a plate that's painted. And on, these kinds of things. So this seeking for beauty is so much a part of who we are. It's really a reflection of who you are inside. We need this expression. That's why we surround ourselves with art. That's what I do anyway. Okay. Okay, the next step is the aha moment. The moment when all of a sudden you grasp the divine intention. Not the programming. The intention is beyond the programming. You grasp beingness. I do not want to say the being of God. That's a projection. I'll get to that in a moment. You grasp that all is one being. You do not reduce a being to its body. It is the mind, the emotions, the presence, the attunement, the intention. Now, consciously, that sudden click of intelligence triggers off an outburst of light, a clarity of awakening. Now, first of all, the being of God. It's a basic tenet of all of the esoteric schools that each person creates for themselves a God ideal, some greater presence, something to whom they can pray, they can give some kind of identity. Humanity's always done this too. We started out by, praying to various spirits of the animals or, spirits of the trees, because we could sense there was something more. And then we advanced to worshiping the sun because it was obviously the giver of so much. And so on through. Now religions tend to be very abstract and amorphous. That continues to expand the humanity's God ideal, and each individual will have a God ideal. So no matter what someone else may say to you, your God ideal is yours. It's yours. In whatever way you experience it. And it could be like my God ideal is very simple, the intelligent universe. The universe itself has intelligence. And we are each one of us, a very important part of that intelligent universe. That's for me. Yours can be completely different. It's entirely up to you. One must never feel that they must absorb someone else's expression. It always comes back to what you feel is the most important experience for you. Now, that said, what I'd like you to do for now is just settle into yourself, close your eyes, and breathe into the solar plexus, out the heart. The solar plexus is the entryway into what we call inverted space, which is larger on the inside than it is on the outside. Strange concept, I know, but just imagine that as you breathe into the solar plexus, you're diving into that vast, luminous universe that enfolds the universe that's observable. And then as you exhale, you're radiating light from your heart, enhancing your aura. Okay, this is a beginning. And then as you do that, and as that breath becomes kind of automatic, drawing into the solar plexus out the heart, see if you can expand your awareness into recognition of all the beings in this room. Seen and unseen. There's some other guys here too. Each person, each being has a radiance, a mental, emotional, and spiritual energy. And you might notice how easy it is to merge. There's no resistance. And then stretch beyond that to the many beings in the local neighborhood. People having breakfast, getting ready for chores, having a day of relaxation, disciplining their children, etc. All of the things that people do. Off to visit relatives, going to church. Just a general activity of the neighborhood. And notice how easy that is. And then you just continue to expand until you are aware that the one being that is all of creation is very easy to touch. So very often we feel isolated and alone and uncomfortable. And it's as if we're cut off from something. But these kinds of exercises, if you do them regularly, will reverse that feeling. As you merge with the One, slowly get used to the idea that you are in fact an integral, important part of divine intent. Okay. Now I'd like to know, if you care to tell me, or the group, how you're feeling about what we've just done. There's a little more to do here on this, but how are you feeling about this? What's it feel like?
Feel very peaceful and connected.
Yeah. Hard to talk about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't put it in words.
Yeah. That's important to acknowledge, that sometimes there just aren't any words. What we get used to, people like myself and Majida, is talking around it. You know, give you all of the tools and the information and what we've learned over the years, but all we can ever do is talk around it. The experience itself is very, very, very personal. It's not possible without it.
Why don't we just go inside for a moment behind the sternum in the heart and just see if there's a sense of what you're experiencing rather than try to get it intellectually or anything. Just see if there's one word that you can express what you feel right now.
Got your word?
Fine. Anyone else?
Home.
Home.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah, you take away the H and
Home. Yeah. Leave a note.
oh gosh, it's like an abundance of words.
Pick one.
It's just like this warm expansiveness, connected, and I don't know.
Yeah. And as I tell the hypnosis clients, all I've been doing is talking. You did the work. But, remember that. Keep that in mind. This is something you're quite capable of. Okay, this last little bit. Then there's a breakthrough of light. Right down to your aura. Light that reaches right into the stars. The stars are beings, not little bits of light in the sky. They are beings of light. So while the photons of your aura are bombarding the stars, your being is connecting with the beings of the archangels of the stars. So there is communication at all levels. Light upon light. And life communicating life to life. And the ecstasy of creation. And you are part of that wonder. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
That's very cool, isn't it? And it's all true. We exist within this universe, therefore our very existence is evidence of this amazing connection that we automatically have. It's just there. Whether you experience it or not is up to you. All right.
Not yet. Let's just do some practice.
Which practice did you have in mind?
Well, it's interesting that you just mentioned the angelic world as well. So there's a practice that we're doing in the morning of Malik Mulk. And it's a gathering of the angels. So it's the angelic atmosphere, the angelic world. And you sense did you say the leaders of the angels?
Yeah, Malik al-Mulk is literally translated as King of Kings. But it's much more like what Majid is describing. It's like it's very closely associated with another being, Dul Jalal Wal Ikram, which is Lord of Majesty and Splendor. They're like, these two beings are like in charge of the archangels, I suppose.
So,
that's the way to put it. So we can do this practice.
And with Yanur as also.
Oh, as a combination?
Yeah.
Nur is that uncreated light that Pirla had mentioned earlier, or the all-pervading light is sometimes one of the very first expressions of divine intent as creation went forth was light. Had to be, right? And that's Nur. And you are. So we do it like this. Ya Nur. Ya Malik al-Mulk. Now, when we do one of these practices, the Ya in the beginning is like saying, "Oh, I'm paying attention." Okay. So
it's also like an invocation. An invitation.
Okay. So Malik al-Mulk, it's Malik Al
UL.
UL.
And then we're okay.
And
And
then
you're
okay.
okay. Mm-hmm.
And then it's Yanur, and you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So as you're doing this, I know that for some of these strange words. Don't worry about it. Just let it flow and see what you experience. As Because the words are, they're generally identified with Arabic right now, but they're very ancient. They go back, into the Aramaic and deeper, probably. Ya Nur, Ya Malik al-Mulk. 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 Now inhale Nur, exhale Malik al-Mulk. Drop the Ya. Just think Nur when you inhale, think Malik al-Mulk when you exhale. Now, fikr asir, which means in contemplation of. So just drop thinking about the words and just see what you feel. One of the things you can do is just simply ask yourself, what does this mean? Okay. Let's stand and do noon prayer. Gracious Lord, Master, Messiah, and Savior of humanity, we greet Thee with all humility. Thou art the first cause and the last effect, the divine light and the spirit of guidance, Alpha and Omega. Thy light is in all beings, Thy love in all beings, in a loving mother, in a kind father, in an innocent child, in a helpful friend, in an inspiring teacher. Allow us to recognize Thee in all Thy holy names and forms, as Rama, as Krishna, as Shiva, as Buddha. Let us know Thee as Abraham, as Solomon, as Zarathustra, as Moses, as Jesus, as Muhammad, and in many other names and forms, known and unknown to the world. We adore Thy past, Thy presence deeply enlightens our being, and we look for Thy blessing in the future. O Messenger, Christ and Ali, the Rasul of God, Thou whose heart constantly reaches upward, Thou comest on earth as a dove from above, as armor decays, and speakest the word that is put into Thy mouth, as the light filleth the crescent moon. May the star of the divine light shining in Thy heart be reflected in the hearts of Thy devotees. May the message of God reach far and wide, illuminating and making the whole of humanity as one single family in the parenthood of God. Pour upon us Thy love and Thy light. 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 A torch in the darkness, a staff during my weakness, a rock in the weariness of life. Thou, my Master, makest earth a paradise. Thy thought giveth me unearthly joy. Thy light illuminates my life's path. Thy words inspire me with divine wisdom. I follow in Thy footsteps, which lead me to the eternal goal. Comforter of the broken-hearted, supporter of those in need, friend of the religious truth, blessed Master, Thou art the prophet of God. Okay? All right. How's everybody doing? You are being recorded.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Feel very calm.
Yeah? What'd you get out of the morning?
I guess I didn't realize the relationship between awakening and illumination before.
Yeah.
So it clarified that connection.
Okay.
Because in the past, I had pretty much had them as interchangeable words.
Oh. And they're not at all.
No, they're not.
One is a step to the other.
Right. But in my head, I had put them as being the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the process to the same thing. So that was really good to get that clarified as to what the difference is and then I guess I hadn't really thought about that there are more chakras beyond the crown chakra.
Ah. The whole business above your head.
Yes. So I hadn't really I guess, been aware or thought about it. So that was new information. It's kind of sitting there.
Okay. Good. You always have something to say.
I guess I'm still kind of grappling with my relationship to the Creator and where to access. And, well, you asked us to sort of, make not an image, but of God today. Wasn't that one of the things that I am just having just a really difficult time with that. Sensing the source, of it, being that the source is everywhere, but yet, I guess it's in finding counsel. I guess I'm looking to have counsel with the Creator.
Oh yeah?
And or substance.
You want a conversation, is that what you're saying?
Well, guidance in a sense, or connection.
How would you know when you don't get it?
When I don't get it?
Yeah.
I guess maybe the way I've been feeling is that I feel like I'm not getting it because the motivation of goodness, I know that is me in essence, and I know that I don't have malintent or things like that, but a sense of I have a hard time accessing my own sense of goodness, even though I feel that that's what I'm about. Mm-hmm. So and I know that the creation's intention is goodness. It's
Why would you think that? There's nothing that says that that's the case. It just is.
Can I speak to that?
Go ahead.
So I don't know about goodness. It's like it's one path and there's another path. And, it's like. But anyway, it's like when the ideal of God is too abstract, then it's very hard to relate into that. And except for some people can do it easily. But then in the indication, we have united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of guidance. So you could in a sense, have a compass that would relate to Hazrat Khan, or Prabhupada, or in that sense. And so you have like an ideal in that sense to speak to
connect.
Or whoever, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, and also when you're able to quiet your mind enough, that's when you can connect with the divine voice that's constantly comes from within. So I have a hard time with this too, so I can relate to your predicament here. But so when we are able to quiet the mind and go into meditation, that's when we can hear that voice that's in there. It's the voice in the sense of intuition. It's not like a human voice that says, go here or go there, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it's something that tells you, that gives you guidance. Would you agree?
Yeah. It's okay with me.
It's so agreeable.
I just think we have to be very careful about this idea of good and bad.
Yeah, we do.
Because there's this, as you said that, there's this. I flashed on this little thing that shows up on Facebook from time to time. I've seen it a few times. It's a picture of Morticia Addams, the TV one, not Angelica Huston, but the other one, from the television series, yes. The Addams Family. And she says, "Why would you believe in good? What's good for the spider is chaos to the fly." And that's the way life is. You see that one?
What's good to the spider is chaos to the fly. Yeah.
And that, So we have to be very careful about what we say. Is this? I approve of this, or I do not approve of this. And mostly just look to our own sense of. What did I call it? So right at the beginning, you were good. You missed the good part. I'll read this. Okay. One of the more tangible features of a state of illumination is that one is absolutely radiant, so that one's presence fills the room with light. This goes together with a state of acute awareness on all levels: perspicacity, alacrity, insight, and intuition. And it also goes together with all the shadows which take away our light, which cause resentment, hatred, dishonesty, lasciviousness, or any kind of psychic uncleanliness. To become more radiant, we need to work at all levels of our being: the physical, the mental, and the emotional. So ultimately, one's God ideal shifts and changes. And it should. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
But don't worry so much about that as you end up concerning yourself with your everyday actions and activities. Paying attention to what you're doing. Muhasabah.
Yeah.
Examination of conscience. Constantly asking yourself, what am I doing now? If you don't like the answer, change. Or just realize, I don't like this answer. Okay?
Yeah. As I was driving here, because I didn't set my clocks back.
I had.
Really paying attention. I, thinking, and then it's like, now I started to come down on myself. And I said, okay, I refuse to think bad about myself. I refuse to feel bad.
Good.
I refuse to put myself down.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Paying attention to your self-talk.
Yeah, because I'm so vulnerable to that.
Yeah, and breathe light.
Oh, pardon?
Breathe light. What's so interesting to me is that we learn, especially those of us that have been around for a long time, we learn all these techniques that work. And then when we get into some kind of stressful situation, we forget everything.
Yeah.
It all goes. And we sit there and
Go back to old patterns.
Yeah. You know, so
I have to release myself from self-punishment.
yeah. There's nothing wrong with you. You're fine.
My perspective is that you were very courageous today. That when you realized that,
You didn't turn around and go
you
home.
didn't turn around and go home.
Yeah, right.
Came late anyway.
Yeah.
I think that's courageous.
Okay.
Amy?
Anything to add to this?
Yeah.
I have a question though that I was just thinking about is this, so are we created in the likeness and image of God? No, I'm trying to figure out because you're talking about
Yeah, which is which?
so then how are we the same and how are we different?
You're saying, how are you saying?
Big question.
I'm just no,
Real question.
no, but you're talking about like the divine voice in you.
Yeah,
So then how is that different from the divine?
it
Or is
is.
it you?
It is.
Right.
It's like, I think that
It's we create the image of the divine.
make
It's
God
not
a
the other way
reality.
Yeah,
God will make you the truth.
yeah.
So,
Your whole being is always struggling to express this most ardent need of love, compassion, empathy, etc., which you've been experiencing very directly, right? Yeah. So, do you suppose that your experience of the divine, whatever it might be, is going to be static?
No.
It's going to change,
No,
right?
as we evolve, it will evolve.
Yeah.
But
So,
is it evolving or just is it our understanding of it evolving?
Wonderful. That's just a great question. It's evolving.
it's both actually, and that's a very tricky place.
Yeah.
You know, because you can't be like, ooh, look at me, I'm making God better. You know, that's not such a good idea to get into, although people do, I swear. But on the other hand, even Rick Lyman talks about it somewhere. I don't remember exactly where. I remember he's touched upon it, that we are in fact expressing the universe and enabling it to be more than it currently is. You know, like for instance, now this is a good question. Before the advent of the Kepler telescope, did the planets exist around those stars? Because people were saying there were no other planets. And now we know there are, what did they say, like 10 million or something like that? I forget what they said. A whole lot.
Around what?
Different stars.
Around different stars.
Yes.
Planets.
Yeah.
Around
Yeah.
different stars.
You're not up on this?
No,
You
I
don't
was not.
This is fairly recent. That there's a telescope in the sky now, and orbiting the Earth, the Kepler telescope. It's even more powerful than the Hubble, and it's able to identify stars that have Earth-like planets circling them. They always could identify a star that had a Jupiter-sized, a Jovian planet, because the star would actually move with the gravity
Yeah.
of the planet, and they'd also see it pass in front of it.
Right.
You know, so there'd be a shadow,
Yeah.
right? But Earth-like planets are a lot trickier.
Yeah, but that also passed in front of us.
That's the other way they're identifying.
Yeah.
So now they've identified a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Suddenly, just like in the past year.
Right. So
So
have they been newly? Well, not newly.
Did they just suddenly appear, or were they always there?
Well, I think they were always there, but in our consciousness, they weren't there.
They weren't there. That's
They
right.
weren't there.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
you come to the realization they are there, just like, the earth isn't flat anymore.
Yeah.
So what does it matter if they're there or if they're not there?
It matters to our understanding of the universe.
Yeah. That's our understanding. That's what really
And to
changed.
the
It doesn't change the universe, does it? Are you sure? You don't know, right? That's the key statement. You don't know, and you want to hold that as a those that can say I don't know
are a little more sophisticated than those who say, I know. You can't tell me different. I always feel so proud of myself when somebody asks me a question and I say, I don't know. It's a moment of clarity or a moment of yippee or something.
A moment of truth.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, well, to further speak to your question, we are different because even though we're part of a totality, we're not the totality. You know, it's like it would be arrogant to say, you know, I'm God. In a sense, you know, in a sense we are, and in another sense we're not. You know, it's like
that's the hard part to understand.
Yeah.
But I think too, depending like on what your religious upbringing, mine was Christian, so I was always taught that I was really separate from God. At least the denominations I was in was that I was completely separate. I needed to reach out of myself to be able to find that, to fix myself, because there's something that was wrong with me.
Yeah, that's a very, very
so that
good
is
knowledge.
also like that doesn't seem right either. Though.
But you'll notice that Jesus didn't say that.
Oh no.
That came later.
Yeah.
That whole doctrine thing. You know.
Oh yeah. No, it's not nothing to do with Jesus by any means, but they would claim it is. But
so we're speaking in the sense about unity here. So when the aha moment comes, well, I think this is in the reading here, isn't it? And once you look and you realize it's all one, including you. You know, that you're not separate from God. It's like it's kind of an amazing realization or thought. You know, it's hard to think of us all being so connected. You know, sometimes. But even our aura, our lives, we're connected to each other. We touch each other in that way. I think that we do these prayers in the morning for people who are ill on our list, you know. So for a while I was having trouble with that, connecting. It's like, well, how is this thought going to get to that person? So I just invented this system of network, you know. So I'm sending this thought out on this cord that goes to that person way in the distance somewhere, wherever they are, you know. so that I can, it's an invention, you know, so that I can feel connected to each one, you know. It's like, oh, they're part of me. Send it out, they'll get it, you know.
Yeah.
Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Who knew?
See, even now, after so many years of marriage.
We all invent our own little system. Yeah, you invent your own little system that works for you, exactly.
So that's what he's talking about, make God a reality. So even if you make a God a reality now, doesn't mean that it won't change. Your reality might change, your conception or your reality might change a year from now or whatever, you know. Expand. And you had, I think, the key word, expansion, you know, in the heart, the being. So even your consciousness expands to include more and more and more, so that it's boundless. And if you think of your aura not having any boundaries, you know, sometimes we think that, oh, it has a shape, it's like, you know, it has certain colors and it has a shape, it's about 2 feet out from you, but it doesn't. It's like, it's just huge, it's just big. And the more luminous our thoughts, as we read in the paper, in a sense, the brighter or bigger it becomes. It's like, you know, our thoughts or emotions are realization of that light as we connect with that light. You ready?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say quickly too, what was interesting was that we were talking about this morning about beauty, and you were saying how, like, you were at the museum, you had this realization that, you know, we always adore things and make things beautiful, but then I was thinking about, so the ultimate act of love is creation. And so, that is what creativity and artists and everybody, that's what we are. Mm-hmm. That's why we feel things, you know, we're kind of emulating what the universe or God did.
Just look at yourself. You are adorned.
Right, I love to adore.
I know you
do. That's hard.
Yeah. So what's it say about you?
What does it say about me?
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure about that.
That you feel comfortable with beauty?
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I like beauty. I guess some people don't, but I don't know.
There's some people who don't that really remember. Well, because it's connected with glamour. It's like, so they limit the meaning of it to glamour. And
Well, and I can see how if you go into a certain extension of that, how it can just become kind of shallow, but at the same time, if we're realizing these human bodies and we have eyes and we see things, then isn't it part of that incarnation to embrace that aspect of ourselves?
right on.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
You done? Okay. Okay, here we go. Lesson 45. I'm sure that you want to belong to that tribe of people who bring light wherever they go. Is that true? You happy with that, Adrian? Okay. You don't want to bring darkness and walk around with a cloud over your head.
Oh, the white tribe.
You're right.
No, but I feel like I do. I feel like I am.
Okay. Well, we're going to eliminate that. We just pretend that doesn't ever exist ever again. Okay? There you go. Actually, our beings are like those plants which, photographed in ultraviolet light, are a million times more beautiful, diaphanous, translucent, and radiant than they usually appear. You guys have all seen these photos, right? That Kirlian photography. Our representation of our body is totally inadequate. And the same thing is true of the starry sky. We think that the sky is studded with stars, whereas in fact it is a whole symphony of light. Each bit of space between the stars is filled with light. There are cosmic rays that are well beyond the range of our vision. And the important thing is that the reality behind what we think of as physical reality is a reality of light at all levels, not just the level that can be measured by scientific instruments, but at the level of the mind and the level of the emotions, and particularly at the level of consciousness, the level of intelligence. I just got to think that Pierre Violatte would have, had he lived, he would have been so excited about the discoveries that are coming with astronomy now.
Yeah.
Gosh, he would have been just all over it and talking about it all the time.
Yeah.
Because now, of course, they know that there is, in fact, something going on between the stars. There is a kind of communication that takes place. And it's measurable. That's the cool part.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Tell me.
I don't remember. I just saw some article, and I read it about, this. I don't remember exactly what it said, but it was basically that there's something taking place between, that space is not empty,
Yeah.
And so on. Yeah, it's very cool. So, our meditation can start. This whole page, or this whole paper, is basically one long meditation. Our meditation can start with a vision of the heavens as a world of light from which we derive our bodies and our minds and our intelligence. Just imagine that you have descended from a world of light, and behind it the sun of the whole universe, which the Sufis call Nur al-Anwar. Anwar means, Nur is the, all-pervading light. Anwar is brighter. Okay, so this would be the light that's brighter. Nur al-Anwar. I know this because I just looked it up. I wasn't sure. The whole hierarchy of beings of light. This world is not just light, but beings of light. Everything is beings. Planets are beings. Molecules are beings. Atoms are beings. Electrons are beings. Galaxies are beings. Everything is beings. There is no such thing as inanimate matter. Okay, this is a tricky concept. He's mentioned it before. That all things have consciousness and intelligence, no matter what they are. From the densest rocks up through the most elusive of beings. All things have consciousness. And there will come a moment when all of humanity recognizes this. Soon we survive. eventually. But it does change how you see things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Does altering the form of something take away its consciousness? You take a tree and chop it down, cut it up into boards, and then turn it into a piece of furniture. Where is the consciousness?
Not in the consciousness as we know it.
Yeah. Does then the consciousness evolve into now I'm a table?
I don't know. I have to ask the tree.
Maybe it would. I don't know. Yeah, it's a good question, isn't it?
But you know, when I used to make the paper from plants.
Yeah.
I felt a direct. I don't think I ever called it consciousness, but aliveness, like a life
When
force
suddenly there the paper is that you created.
out of plants.
Yeah.
Through the whole process, the thought of that aliveness and that aliveness continued to be there inherent in the fibers, even though the fibers were being their structure was their basic structure was being changed through elements, through water and oxygen, hydrogen,
Chemical reaction.
That there was still a consciousness.
Yeah, you felt it.
There was still that inherent in the paper. That it had a memory. If you a form, if you were to dry it in a certain form, it would hold that form. Unless, but there was also a different kind of aliveness in it, besides just physical form.
It changed.
Yeah, almost as if it could speak to people, in some way, or it held a message or something like that. That would, there was some communication that could occur. Okay. What that was, I didn't know, but I just always.
Okay, good.
My experience has been, it's been more like a layering of things on top of other things.
When you create art?
When you create art out of different things from other sources. So the most simple one that I can start with is like with the creation of paper and then writing a story on top of it. So you've got the printed story, and the story has a consciousness, and the paper itself has a consciousness.
Don't forget the ink.
And the ink. I mean, but these are, just a few components.
Yeah.
So those components, because I spent so much time in the publishing world, became so evident that it became a different kind of living being than it was more than the elements itself.
So what you both have said is that our manipulations of the environment alters consciousness.
It actually, a new consciousness can be born out of old things.
Isn't that cool?
Yes.
I love it.
And it's the same thing with artwork, of the layering on of different, along with the intention that goes in creating the art piece.
Yeah, like I look at that piece right there, right? And there's like 5 or 6 layers going on there, at least. Plus the paper.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more. I'm not sure how many layers you put into that. So, that too.
Mm-hmm.
I actually saw him do this.
You did?
Yeah.
Do you use tape to make that word shape release?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He went through rolls and rolls of blue tape. Okay, now, so let's get back to the idea that the meditation that you are working working on is the vision of the heavens as a world of light which is active. Okay, and there's things going on. Now, if you have this vision of worlds of light, a whole hierarchy and ourselves derived from it, emanating from it, descended from it into the narrow constraint of our self-image. This is what we're working with. That there's this vast ocean of energy, frequency, vibration, that provides us with our being. And then we, in our manifest state, limit it.
And how that changes that limitation if we concentrate on that.
On the vastness.
On the vastness of it, and the aliveness of it, and the light of it.
You can actually, when you do a deep concentration like this, you can actually get into that state and feel yourself. There's a physical sensation. I was thinking of that earlier today. I didn't mention it. But there's actually a physical sensation that comes with the sense of awakening. And I didn't know until recently what it is. It's the two halves of your brain working together. That's one of the side effects. You know how you usually one side or the other is dominant?
Yeah.
You know? When you get into this state of awakening, they're equal. And you can feel it.
I think it may be more evident with men than it is for women.
Why do you say that?
Because most men in our culture are using the rational side of the brain more. You're different because you're more.
Because I'm an artist.
You're an artist.
Yeah.
But for many women, it's been necessary to use both parts of the brain multitasking. And that I think the change is not quite as strong
Really?
as it is for men.
You're the first person who ever said that. Because
No, it is not. I said it the other day.
You did not.
Yes, I did.
Did not. Did do. Did not. Did do.
And, yes, okay.
Okay.
So that's why they refer to women's intuition rather than men's intuition, you know? So both sides of the brain working together also.
And this is documented medically. There
Wow.
have been studies that
I did not know that.
that for women are using.
So you're going to have to find some other indication then.
Right. Yeah, other physical indications.
Yeah.
But it's becoming even more aware, so that. What would you say for physical?
I don't know. I don't know. That was new to me, that you had a physical reaction.
Yeah, I do.
So, yeah,
I can
that
feel
was
it.
like I think, because I don't feel that, so I don't know.
The other part that I do know is that when I had that horrible car accident, I believe that some of those connections broke. I had all those head impacts.
Yes.
And that I could feel huge shifts as my brain was coming
I remember you talking about that.
Yeah.
to the way that I could start performing different mental activities.
Yeah.
So there were huge jumps that I could feel in that healing process, which may correspond to the kind of
I
thing.
don't know. I guess they would.
Experience?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that makes no sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
Okay. I've learned something. Okay, let's go back to being constrained in your self-image. Rats. I actually think about this one a lot.
What constrained meaning held in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like your self-condemnation or
Well, it's self-monitoring. I've been thinking about this a lot the past week, about this, no for that. So there's a constant monitoring that's going on, which is self-limiting, self-protecting.
And it may be inaccurate.
And maybe inaccurate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
it's
it's
judgmental, isn't it?
Well, it's also choices. You're making choices.
because of choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they may be totally correct.
It could be, but I'm not saying that it's necessarily limiting, but it's a making a choice is blocking out the other choice that could have been taken.
Yeah.
So it's been a quandary this week.
Does that come up when you're by yourself and say, you know,
No, even when I'm with people, and I make a choice of how I'm going to take whatever I'm going to say next or do next.
yeah.
Yeah.
And does it have anything to do with, with what was said prior by other people? I mean, does it?
Could be.
Yeah.
I certainly am carrying around a lot of history.
Mm-hmm.
You're also reacting to the energy in the environment.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, so if the energy is compatible and you feel comfortable, right, you'll respond in a more open way than you would if you were suspicious and the environment seems hostile or guarded. You know, you must be guarded as well. You know.
Yeah, I had an experience that
Okay.
this week, and I was in the sauna, which is usually a quieter place, and he was just ranting and raving about something. I'm not sure what it was, but I wanted to get out of the whole area. I wanted to remove myself from the whole area. Didn't even want to engage.
Yeah. On the other hand, I was standing in line in the grocery store the other day, and there was some guy right behind me who was starting to babble. He was going off on one of those babbling things that people do. And I turned around and looked at him, and I said, "Stop."
Are you sure he wasn't speaking in tongues?
Huh?
You sure he wasn't speaking in tongues?
No, it was English. And, I said, "Stop." And he said, "Who are you to tell me?" And I said, "You're babbling." He said, "Oh, I'm sorry." You know? Like he realized. So you can do that too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, it probably helped that I was like a foot taller. You know?
You knew it.
Okay, moving along. Having the sense of our real being, we are like the prisoners chained in the cave of Plato. You guys are familiar with this? Okay, well, this is the way that Plato used to describe limited being. You're in a cave, and there's people outside who see the sun, and you don't see it, and so you don't recognize that it's sunny out.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's Plato's cave. And you can go and look it up if you want, and there's a lot more to it. Anyway, the people outside would say the sky is blue, the grass is green, and they would say, "I don't know what you mean by blue or green." All they would see people in the cave. Right. All they see are shadows. So we have to break our chains, the chains in our way of thinking. And that is the breakthrough that allows the memory of those worlds to come back. That is the moment where you can dance with joy and say, "Yes, I know what I am now. I am a being of light. I have always been a being of light. How could I have forgotten? That is the world I belong to." And I got to tell you that when you have one of those experiences, almost the very first thought after the experience comes is, "Why did it take so long for me to figure this out?" It just like the very next thought is, "What's wrong with me? Why did it take so long?" It's just there, and you can feel it's just there. Okay? It's a very normal reaction. I've done this all this time. And reality is just this, it takes what it takes. It takes as long as it takes.
I just had this memory of every actor feels it. But when you're on the stage and you get in your light, it's like you're in the spotlight. It's like you feel it. I mean, and it feels wonderful to be in that spotlight. And because it's a reminder that even if you don't realize it at the time, that this is what you are, that you're being of light.
I think that must be unique to actors. Because most people would feel, can I move out of this light?
Well, not necessarily. Maybe it is unique to actors, but it's like...
People who perform.
It's like where I'm supposed to be. It just opens you up.
It's also kind of like, because I did some acting as a young person, that you get in that zone.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like probably when you're making furniture, you get into that zone.
Sure.
So
when I'm writing,
everything just connects and you feel.
I can feel my brain physically expand when I'm in that space.
Mm.
It's like, okay. Yes,
Do you think that's one of the places where your hemispheres come together?
Probably, because you're doing creative and when you're writing, for instance, the act of creation is this thought form that you want to express, but it has to be grammatically correct. You have to put in punctuation. Well, I don't always do that, and you have to write sentences that are coherent. Mm-hmm. Right? You're limited to the language.
Yeah.
To take this massive thought form and express it in a limited way. Right? So you're using both. Yeah, you're using both sections of your brain, aren't you? Unless it's something really technical, in which case you just.
Although you don't get that physical sensation.
I do.
You do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm just used to it now.
For you, it's an ongoing experience. It wasn't a singular experience.
Oh no, not at all. I always know when I'm in a creative state.
Yeah.
I think most artists do. You might just do it, but you still know.
Right.
It's like that whole thing. Writer's block is when you don't feel it.
Right, and you miss it. It's like, where is it? Where'd it go?
Yeah, that's what gets you high. Yeah. What is more, that light is interfusing what we call this world. It's not just up there. It may be found in the photons of a beer can, in the eyes of a child, sometimes in the eyes of a person who's about to die, the memory of worlds of light. So, of course, okay. So, just imagine for a moment where you can start like we did this morning. You can start with your own aura by once again stacking your aura, starting at the base of the spine and slowly working upward. And I'm not so concerned with the colors so much as the layers and how they kind of merge one with the other as you move upward. And so there's this verticality of light, but you're also radiating horizontally, aren't you? Now, the next thing you can do is, since everybody in the room is doing that, imagine those layers of auric illumination merging with one another, interconnecting. It's like flowing through one another. There's this image on the NASA website of these two galaxies flowing through one another. And as near as they can tell, none of the stars in either galaxy is affected. These two galaxies, with billions of stars each, are flowing through one another. And there's no explosions, there's no collisions, they're just flowing right through one another. And that's kind of the way our auras work. And then imagine, if you can, that your aura is unlimited. And all that we see around us, all of these collections of atoms and subatomic particles that turn into molecules, that turn into matter, that become manipulated and turn into structures, are all emanating light. And you're merging with that as well. And then go still further. And see if you can experience the aura of the planet Earth. Which you are immersed in. And then moving still further, you are also immersed in the corona of the sun, our sun, the soul, which we live within, continually being intersected with photons from the sun. Somebody this morning, I think Amy, said, "Doesn't the sun feel wonderful?" And it's, it's like when you finally the cloud cover parts and the sunlight is more evident, it just feels grand. You're remembering that you are a part of that grand being. What the Sufis call Prince Harach, the Archangel of the Sun. And then you can extend this meditation still further into the galaxy, merging with other suns, the energy of the vibrant energy of the space between the stars, and the vibrant energy of the space between galaxies. And the wonderful joy of knowing that you are a being of light. Of course, one wishes to bring the light into focus so that it may become a reality on the physical plane. That is what one calls existentiating, becoming aware of one's aura. I recommend a practice to do when you're walking in nature. Be aware of the light of your being. You might not see it, but physically it can be ascertained in the laboratory with curvilinear photography and so on. Be aware of the light that is emitted from the sparkling cells of your body. Be aware of the light emitted from your hands as you touch the leaf of a tree or a flower. Be aware of the light around your head, which is more intense than any other part of the body. In fact, nerve tissue is much more radiant than muscle or bone tissue, so that all of that accumulation of cells at the top of the head causes a tremendous amount of light, which is called by the Zoroastrians Spardane Areola, of the crown of the king or the queen. So imagine that, if you this auric layering that you've been experiencing culminates at the crown and then radiates into the heavens. And since the heavens are also radiating in all directions, it's a constant interweaving of celestial energies. Now I'm reminded of another practice that is, that we sometimes forget about. So now what you can do actively is, as you inhale, imagine that you are drawing this energy of the worlds of light, Nur al-Anwar, into your being through the crown center, drawing this sparkling, translucent, crystalline light into your body, into your physical body. And as you inhale this amazing energy into your body, your whole body reacts and starts to sparkle even more brilliantly than it does ordinarily. As you inhale, you're drawing this light of the celestial realms into your being through the crown, causing your whole body to sparkle. And if you like, as you're doing this, you can think Nur, the all-pervading light. Inhale Nur. And then, as you exhale, imagine a sun, a golden sun in the center of your chest, and you're radiating golden light, enhancing and intermingling with the other layers of your aura, so that you have a sparkling golden hue to your aura, radiating in all directions in an infinite distance. That's Munawar, the lamp. So inhale Nur, exhale Munawar. Sparkling crystalline light in, radiant golden light out. And this is a practice you can do anytime. There's no restrictions on this. Shahabudin Suhrawardi says, after their initiation, those who have been invited to the temples of light don robes or mantles of light. So you may become aware that your aura is like your initiatic robe. It radiates far and wide and lights up the environment. When you come into a room, you are aware of the light of your being that brings sunshine into the room. Isn't that a wonderful thought? Taking sunshine with you wherever you go. Now, how does everybody feel?
Does Hazrat talk about that in some of his books?
Not as much as Pir Vilayat does.
Yeah.
He didn't really get into the deep metaphysics of light, as I recall. I don't recall. Do you? No. Now, the extraordinary thing is that while the aura appears rather like a tremendous interplay of rainbows, There is an effigy of light inherent in your aura. The thinking of your soul has sculptured the light of the spheres into an effigy of light. It doesn't have a boundary. It doesn't have the consistency of matter. Still, there is a structure that reflects your awareness and your degree of love and dedication and capacity for glorification and dedication. Each one is unique, and all the faces are His face, as the Quran says. The divine face is coming through, which is a partial answer to your question, trying to come through your face right down into matter. On the way, it is an effigy of light. Okay, this is another way of saying the other pole of your being, your light being, that you will often experience in deep meditation. You can experience it. It's a common experience. To experience your being of light. Okay. Now, can you imagine going through life without knowing your real being? Carrying a mask, looking in the mirror and being convinced one is what one sees in the mirror. This is the state of most of us. The miracle of life is structuring something that does not have form to start with. It's pure intelligence, love, nostalgia, dedication, glorification. There are no forms, but somehow the formless manifest in music as a form, or in your being as a form. This is the miracle of life. How is it that your thoughts should be expressed in words? How is it possible that the motion of your vocal cords should communicate thought from person to person? How is the ballerina able to communicate her attunement to the crowd? This is what we were just talking about, isn't it? Yeah.
Creativity.
Yeah. That it's the formless that we must express, that goes back to the idea of adornment and beauty in our world, that we see it around us and we want to carry it around. That's why you put on earrings, or you dress nice, take a shower, all of those things. That effigy is evanescent, elusive. It changes according to your mood, according to your thoughts, according to your attunement. The core of it is sublime, and then there is a defilement, a deterioration. The colors of the aura become blurred or dark brown, gray or black. Now, if you are aware of the influence of thoughts in the aura, that you have wonderful feedback. You can test it out and see how an untoward thought will immediately alter the colors of your aura. Okay? Now, this is how it is that you pay attention. When you feel this shift and recognize that something's off, what do?
It's off in your emotional attunement to it off.
Yeah, and
you're thinking.
Whatever it might be, yeah. You know it, you can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And you might be really stubborn about it and say, just grumble and grumble. And, what do you do? Maybe it's safe over there. I can see you think it's safe. What do you do?
Try to change the atmosphere.
How are you going to do that?
Change your thoughts.
Yeah, how do you do that?
Think the opposite.
How do you do that? Sometimes you feel stuck, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Breathe light, just like we just walked through. You know, it might feel clumsy in the moment, but if you keep at it, it will definitely shift your consciousness. That very simple practice. White light in, golden light out. Nur in, Nur out. Okay? It's a very useful, very effective technique that you can use anytime, and eventually you get used to it. It just becomes normal. You start to feel yourself slipping into that state of ickiness. You know it's icky. I mean, even though you're justifying, your self-justification is going on as well, right? Nevertheless, you know it's icky. I certainly do. Although I'll hang on to it for a considerable length of time. Just out of defiance.
Have a sense of being right.
That's right. Okay. So test it. Be aware. Notice. Continually monitor yourself. And remember over and over and over and over and over, as often as you have to say it, I am a being of light. Even when it feels false. Also, you can see how any dishonesty will cause confusion and ambiguity in the thoughts. You can clarify thoughts by confronting them with the power of truth. Then they become crystalline, clearly outlined, not blurred and not nebulous. Now this is a very powerful state of being. When you notice your own dishonesty and change it. And we all do it. You know, it's not like it's I'm so pristine and pure that never happens to me. Right? You become a very clear person, and your dealings with people and with problems become clear. Just as the light of awareness can be impeded by any holding back on authenticity. The light of awareness will give you power because then it manifests as truth, and truth is the greatest source of power. As long as it's not a truth that you beat up other people with, only yourself. Okay? I tell the truth, and that doesn't matter what happens. How do you hear people say this, you know? And that's just about one of the most foolish statements a person can make. Okay, should we take a little break?
Could you just sort of say, if you manifest truth, I mean, when you manifest light, the light will bring the truth, and the truth is power?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's take a little.
Watch your breath. Again, just breathe in light, right through the crown and out through the heart. Radiating light. Continue with that as I read. I'm going to reread the last paragraph that Sarah read because, excuse me, it leads into the next. Actually, the next two paragraphs, the previous two paragraphs. That FSG is evanescent, elusive. changes according to your mood, according to your thoughts, according to your attunement. The core of it is sublime, and then there's a defilement, a deterioration. The colors of the aura become blurred or dark brown, gray or black. Now, if you're aware of the influence of thoughts on the aura, then you have wonderful feedback. You can test it and see how an untoward thought will immediately alter the colors of your aura. Also, you can see how any dishonesty will cause confusion and ambiguity in the thoughts. Sorry, excuse me. You can clarify thoughts by confronting them with the power of truth. Now, this refers to Miss Sauer, what you were saying, when you get stuck in a foul mood or a negative way of thinking or a depressed state, to confront your thoughts with the power of truth. And that way you're clarifying your thoughts, making them clear. Right? That confrontation. What am I doing now? Right? They become crystalline, clearly outlined, not blurred, not nebulous. You become a very clear person, and your dealings with people and with problems become clear. Just as the light of awareness can be impeded by any holding back on authenticity, the light of awareness will give you power, because then it manifests as truth. And truth is the greatest source of power. Now, this is the interesting part. With this awareness, you can cure yourself. The cells of your body are sparkling, emitting light. They are continually regenerating, being replaced, or replacing themselves. The intensification of light of the aura will cause your cells to proliferate faster and consequently to regenerate. That is healing with light. You can infuse the light of your awareness and direct the light of your aura into the cells of your body, just like casting a flashlight beam in a dark room. It is not totally dark because everything is sparkling, but you give it extra light. That light infuses your body, giving you vitality. So, not only your body, but any problem that you may have in life. So just now, as you were concentrating on light, if there is a problem you're having with your body, like my lower back is hurting, just direct that light in your concentration to that part of your body, or if it's some other problem, like to that problem, to that area. Maybe your self-image, a doubt, the way you have been limiting yourself. So just do that right now. You can use the thought of Nur and Manawar on your breath if you wish as well. Now, if there's some area of your life that you feel needs a healing, bring that area into light. Send light into that area in whatever way that you can imagine it. And actually intensely feeling it from your being. And again, this is a repetition. You can also thrust that light upon your problems with all the power of that light that will brook of no compromise. No compromise. The light of your being will correct the misassessment of your consciousness. Your consciousness will now be able to grasp what your intelligence is seeing, just like one has a hunch about something and then corroborates it by observing, that is, using one's consciousness. So again, look upon any area of your life that you have, with which you have a problem. Remember that light is revealed and reveals. The Sufis say it is not the light that is seen, it is the light that sees. It is not only revealing, it is creative because it unleashes the latencies in all it encounters. It is like an illusion that is dissipated by a light, like a cloudy image that you think you see it dawn, and then as the light gets stronger, that image is dissipated by the clarity of the light that has dawned upon it. I'm going to repeat that one sentence. It is not only revealing, it is creative because it unleashes the latencies in all it encounters. What does that mean to you, do you think? What would that mean to you personally?
Could be the possibilities that are the potentialities that are lying dormant in what we perceive as a problem or failure, or there could be another purpose to it than what we are seeing or perceiving as a purpose. We could possibly realize that purpose
Anybody else?
I was feeling the same way. It's like it kind of says to me the underlying roots or things that sometimes we don't really, we see something on the surface, but what is holding up could be quite different from what we see as a surface problem. And then once that layer on the surface and the underlying things become more visible.
So would you count that as a creativity, a creative act?
Seems like everything's a creative act. Because there's movement.
Okay.
Can you read the line about the light seeing there? You said, as the Sufis say, there's some kind of line about the light.
Oh, yes, okay. The Sufis say it is not the light that is seen. It is the light that sees. Okay. So just imagine, for instance, take a look around and just imagine that it's not you seeing something, but you are participating in the divine glance. So God is seeing through your eyes. Okay, that's one way of handling it. It's the light that sees. So we went over this before a little earlier. It's like the light of intelligence is not a light that's seen. It's just the light that sees. It's the light upon a light. So it's a greater light.
One of those things you talk about and you can't explain it.
Yes, I created light. You see a light. You see the light of the sun. You see the light around you, etc. But when you're looking at something, even though it's not, you don't perceive light coming out of your eyes, seeing something. It's the light of intelligence. It's like that as a kind of light that is not seen, but it sees. It sees.
No, I hear you.
Okay, so it's the light of intelligence. Yes. Don't you shrug at me. Okay. We start with our assessment of our problems, and the light of the divine glance cast upon it dissipates the illusion. So there again, it's the light of the divine glance. So you can think of yourself as not just you seeing whatever's in front of you, but that's the light of the divine glance coming through your eyes, and you are. You can explain this better than I can. So just indulge that. It's like, this is God seeing. This is through me. It's like you are an instrument through which God experiences life. As you and me. It's like, what experience?
Let's try it a little differently.
Nope.
Step away from your individuation and imagine that the whole environment is experiencing itself. You feel that you're isolated, you're localized, your being has presence, it has form, it has shape, it has a history. When you remember that you are really a being of light, you don't have any boundaries. And if that's the case, neither does anyone else. So who's doing the seeing? Okay?
Yeah.
Try it like that. We're a little afraid to step away from individuation. And gratefully so. It's kind of scary.
So we're almost seeing ourselves in some ways.
In some ways, in fact, you are. You are yourself no matter what you are experiencing. And so is everything else.
Here, you will start here.
Okay.
To start with.
We start with our assessment of our problems. Okay, just start there. Think of a problem.
Easy.
Okay, now, you have an assessment of this problem. You have an idea about what it is. You have an idea about how it should develop. You know what should happen in order for it to go away. Please. Right? We don't always have an annoying problem. Right? That's your assessment. With the light of the divine glance cast upon it, this assessment becomes an illusion, and the illusion is dissipated.
What's the problem?
Exactly.
That's it. Dissipated. Doesn't exist. It's no longer a problem. It's just a condition. See the difference? See the difference? That light is the light of divine intention. You can only understand your problems in terms of divine intention. I'm not saying that one is a puppet in the divine programming and that all is predestined. The divine intention has become processed into your free will. However, if you disconnect it from the original intention, then there is a distortion and a confusion.
Our original intention, or
The original intention. The divine intent. Now, how often have you heard me say that what you are doing is you're participating in divine intent? And the degree to which that is, you're comfortable with that determines the degree to which you experience yourself as a truthful being. Okay? If you disconnect it from the original intention, then there is distortion and confusion, which we've all experienced. Right? So part of your job, your task as an initiate, is to continually monitor your own sense of awareness as it applies to your problems, and we all have problems. Okay?
a sense of how we apply the divine intent.
Yeah.
To
Your awareness of the divine intent. Remember, it can be quite different from what you think it is.
Right. So the quandary happens for me when the divine intent appears to be harmful to someone,
That can happen.
and personal will wanting that not to happen,
Yeah.
and choosing sometimes to interfere with that, which can be actually turn out to be a fight, but a different outcome can be achieved. But it's messing with the
It is.
intent.
Yeah, it is.
So here's my problem. So that's wrong then, messing with the divine intent. Maybe?
Well, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know.
Maybe your assessment of the divine intent is wrong.
Well, that's could be, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know, do you? Isn't that
I
wonderful?
don't know for sure what the divine intent is.
Look what you just said.
I just went around in a circle.
Yeah, pretty much. When you come back to the starting place of you don't know. Although sometimes you do know very clearly, and there's no question. This gets into an area that gets pretty specific. And that is absolute freedom. He doesn't talk about it in this particular thing, but Absolute freedom is a place of no choice. You know precisely what to do. There's no question in your mind. But you have to be in that, the state of the dervish. You can't be in just an ordinary human state.
So it's in these other states, the non-dervish state, where it's not particularly clear.
Right. Then you have to be
there are limited choices, but there are still choices.
Yeah. Yeah, so the accuracy with which you delineate which choice is correct is determined by your own sense of awareness, by your realization. For one person's choice may be appropriate for them, but is completely inappropriate to the state of the prophet.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Remember, there's a lot of other things going on here is the layers of humanity. Okay? Spiritual stations. Right? What is very appropriate in an animalistic society, which we have, underclass people,
individual,
is not appropriate to people at our level of vibration. Okay? It's not.
But it's appropriate to the circumstance and development.
Yeah.
So
there's actually plenty of literature when you think about it. That's that transformative experience as one goes from a limited understanding into a more expansive understanding.
Yes.
Right? Literature's full of those kinds of things.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of War and Peace is to talk about that transformation of that doctor into,
Well, every human being, I think, has an ugly side and a sublime side. And it gets confusing from time to time. But I guess our job is to witness the beauty in them also.
That's why we have these techniques and exercises and practices that aid us in shifting our awareness from the disconnected to the connected.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, and pretty much today we've been talking about interactions on the physical.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but also in a very, very high vibration.
Right.
Okay.
The essence of light, or
Yeah. Okay. Again, if you disconnect from the original intent, then there is distortion and confusion, which we all have experienced. So that just tells you there's your yardstick. You feel that state of confusion, you're disconnected. You need to get reconnected. And these are where the techniques and the practices come in handy. Just being aware. Okay, it becomes counterproductive and eventually defeats its own purpose, like a battery that's been disconnected from a charger and is on its own trip. The light of the divine glance will cut right into the souls of people. It will not only reveal their deepest motivations and their attunement to you, but will reveal themselves to themselves. Therefore, relieving them of the obstacles that stand in the way of unfurling their potentials. That is why the divine glance is not only cognitive, but also creative. Okay? Now, we need to overcome the dichotomy in our minds between the divine glance and the human glance. The idea that I am the eyes through which God sees. No. As Ibn al-Arabi says, God is the one who sees, and that through which he sees and that which he sees. Instead of thinking that you are the eyes through which God sees, think that your glance is the divine glance that is looking into the universe. It has been mitigated, distorted, darkened, denigrated, but it is the divine glance. The glance of the king or the queen that gives light and life to all things. And we have come to the end of the correspondence course in meditation.
certificates now?
Why, yes. Just what I was thinking. Now I'm looking for something.
We graduated.
Oh,
You graduated.
we graduated. You're such nifty folk.
You said that Sarah had typed that whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to correct it because there's a lot of mistakes there. Yeah, she didn't.
Okay.
From tapes
No, from this.
The text
The text.
that has been read to us.
Yeah.
So,
You want it.
yeah.
I have to get through it.
Oh, your summer project, maybe?
No. I have other projects in mind.
Oh,
Eventually.
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 Well,
I know you're here. Where'd you go?
Not right now. Okay. Maybe later. It's just, yeah.
So this had been put into text from Pierre Goliath's lectures.
Yeah.
Some of it was lectures, some of it was stuff he wrote.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
then that was compiled by the Sufi order.
Yeah. And then sent out once a month
Yeah. As a course.
for 3 years.
Okay. And was that to leaders?
To everybody. who
Everybody,
wanted it.
you can just sign up and get it once a month. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to pay, I don't know, was it $10?
It wasn't a lot.
That was very cheap. And you just have it.
Yeah.
You got tapes with it.
So are we going to have some sticker here?
We are going to have some zip.
Oh, we're
Good.
Okay. So what I want to do is anybody a little closer. You can just take this chair. Closer. No, right here. So we make a circle. So, I don't know if you remember the words. It's been a while. La. Ilaha. Nothing exists. Illallah. Except Allah. God and who. Which is the presence. Except we're not going to do that. This is called the Zikr of the Prophets. This is both male and female. I'm just going to do the women.
Okay. We should do all of who we can be.
What? No, I'm just going to just start right in. We don't need any prep. We've had a whole day of prep. Everyone feels quite calm and complete. It goes like this. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Okay, it goes like that. Now we're going to do that 3 times. And then I'm going to call out the name of the prophet, in this case the female ones. And you just wait while I do that, and then you will repeat what I say. And then I'll do the zikr again 3 times. We'll do it together. And then I'll call out the name of the next one, and so on, and we'll go through the list. Okay? We did it all like Bnei Israel and Islamic prophets.
Are you inhaling on a high?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right there. What's that? So is that the right key?
It was a little off for me.
La ilaha
Love can go higher.
La ilaha illallah. 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 Sarah Sami Allah. Sarah Sami Allah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Hagar Rashid Allah. Hagar Rashid Allah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Miriam Bashir Allah. Miriam Bashir Allah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Zipporah Subhanallah. Zipporah Subhanallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Leya Wadud Allah. Leya Wadud Allah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Rachel Jamil Allah. Rachel Jamil Allah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Deborah Rabi Allah. Deborah Rabi Allah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Magdala Mabud Allah. Magdala Mabud Allah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Maryam Qudus Allah. Maryam Qudus Allah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Amina Hafiz Allah. Amina Hafiz Allah. La ilaha Disclose to us thy divine light. 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 Warner of coming dangers, awakener of the world from sleep, deliverer of the message of God, thou art our Savior, the sun at the dawn of creation, the light of the whole universe, the fulfillment of God's purpose. Thou art the life eternal. We seek refuge in thy loving enfoldment. Spirit of guidance, source of all beauty and creator of harmony, love, lover, and beloved Lord, thou art our divine ideal.